Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us. At our show today is the United Kingdom News and Culture, episode 145, and I'm your host, DIANN FLOYD BOEHM. Let us welcome our team members. First, the incredibly talented, the royal photographer, co-host of the Royally Rich Lifestyle, and host for the Royal Breaking News from London. She's also a royal expert and a woman in the know, HELENA CHARD.
Hey, thank you, Diane. Lovely to see you on this frosty day.
It is a frosty day up there. We'll have to talk some more. Let's bring up our wonderful Scottish team member, the fabulous chef, author, speaker, sailor, and so much more. Welcome, Simon MacDonald.
Hello, Wednesday again, yippee, and it's bucketing the rain here today. It started off all right this morning, but I mean, it's cold. It's a very chilly wind, and we've had a lot of hard frost, and temperatures down around about sort of -7 to -11, and which in your terms, I think is getting pretty low. So that's all I can say. It must be down into the single figures as well.
So you're having rain and a little bit of frost, and Helena, you're having frost, right?
Well, it's frosty, but we were supposed to be having snow as from today. But I know over the next 2 weeks it's going to be minus. I'm sure it said something like -15. I mean, I don't know, but it's certainly getting freezing.
Yes.
So. Yeah, one of those things. Is it on when they show it on the weatherboard? It's yellow, isn't it, for snow? I think.
Yes. I know. Snow shouldn't be yellow. Always beware of yellow snow. It's supposed to be white.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I see yellow, I think sunshine. So yeah, it needs to be white.
So true. So yeah.
Well, I'm excited about our show today. You know, we're getting close. Well, the holiday season has begun, so I can't wait to hear what all's happening over there. And I'm sure it's, well, not sunshine and roses, but let's just say frosty and freezing and exciting times over there.
Yeah, it's good. Lots of bits and pieces. I've just got a few little royal snippets, but I'm sure Simon's got something wonderful to offer us also.
You both have wonderful things. We're so blessed to have you guys. And for our listeners to discover all the exciting things across the pond, at least from the pond in respect to the US. So, Helena, let's get started with your snippets.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So this is my little royal roundup. I think at the moment, pomp and pageantry is what's happening here in the UK over the since yesterday for a couple of days for Emir of Qatar's 2-day visit. And we were, well, me and so many people, so happy to see the Princess of Wales out and about, and so much soft diplomacy going on, which is great because we would love some trade deals here in the UK. We need some good news. But so great to see the Princess of Wales and obviously Prince William. They greeted the Qatari royals at their hotel. This was yesterday. Travelled with them to Horse Guards Parade for the official ceremonial welcome and headed off to Buckingham Palace where they had private lunch with the King Charles and Queen Camilla. And for this state occasion, I mean, I'm always excited to see what Princess of Wales is going to be wearing, but she wore the most stunning fitted burgundy coat. This was by Sarah Burton for Alexandra McQueen, and a hat by Sahar Millinery, I think it is. I think the word is, yes. She accompanied the outfit with matching colour boots, but looked beautiful. She always looks so stunning and elegant. So it was lovely seeing her beaming. And of course, the pearl necklace that she wore, which once belonged to the late Queen Elizabeth. So great seeing them out and about. Queen Camilla, the latest update, the health update, because lots of people were saying, you know, is she really ill? Is there something wrong? Because obviously she was cancelling lots of her performances and jobs. But yeah, so the update is she is okay. She has had pneumonia, as I had thought. So the chest infection was pneumonia. She's battling a post-viral fatigue. So she obviously has to have a lot of time for recovery. So, I mean, absolutely applaud her for being at the banquet, which was last night with King Charles, wearing her wonderful outfit. I think both of them were looking absolutely stunning. And she was there. We saw the photograph in a red floor-length velvet dress by Fiona Clare, looking stunning with that beautiful tiara. I love that tiara. There is a story there behind that, but not for today. King Charles, you know, he always is so fabulous with his languages. So he was wowing guests with his Arabic at the state banquet, talking about the profound and historic ties between Qatar and the UK, and obviously delivering a speech talking about the ties, the collaborative efforts, climate change, biodiversity, education, defence, etc. But talking to the guests, I think there's something like 150 guests, and speaking in Arabic. Is it, if I got this right, Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be upon you. I'm sure my accent was not quite right, but I thought I'd give it a go. But it's the whole thing as well. He was talking about Amir's visit as a homecoming, because he actually studied in the UK at Sherborne, Harrow and the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst. So all good. I know that there's also, you know, there is a slight upset because I don't think everyone agrees with the human rights in Qatar. But again, soft diplomacy and everything is absolutely what we need now. Moving on, one of the guests, or two of the guests, should we say, were none other than David and Victoria Beckham. And so everyone's talking about, they're absolutely convinced that David Beckham's going to be getting his knighthood any time soon. So he was spotted there walking through Buckingham Palace. Well, they were both sort of hand in hand. And they were there. I mean, the reason why they were there actually is because of their Qatari connections. David Beckham was the former England football captain, sort of the ambassador for the Qatar World Cup in 2022. And they were, the thing about these great setups as well is that everyone sits in different places, and he was sat next to our Conservative leader, Kemi Badenoch, and I think she was sat next to Lord Levy or something like that. Anyway, but so it's great to see everyone chatting. And the state banquet was 3 courses of absolutely delicious food. You know, it takes, so these state banquets, they prepare from a year prior. And then it takes 5 days to actually set up the actual tables. And the 3 courses, I think it's starter, light tartlet, Cornish lobster with quail's eggs and obviously salad leaves. Supreme Windsor pheasant was the main, with wonderful, you know, roast celeriac, potatoes and various things. And dessert was iced bomb with organic Samoan vanilla ice and Balmoral plum sorbet, which sounds lovely and light and beautiful. So all has gone very, very well. The new thing that we've heard, and it's always, I love hearing about the children, as in the Princess of Wales and Prince William's children, and what they're up to, because they always try to introduce them to wonderful new things. And the recent whispers, this was at Tusk Conservation Awards. That's the Prince William is the patron of Tusk Trust, and he was talking to some great people, talking about Prince Louis, his youngest son, who I think is 6, has taken up drumming, and it's the most noisy thing. Every time he's practicing, which is pretty much 24/7, everyone's walking with their fingers in their ears. But he was talking to Dire Straits, is it Mark Knopfler, it is, 75, and also Ronnie Wood from the Rolling Stones, and talking about how important music is to the whole family, and also just the different era, you know, the genres of music over the eras that he really, really enjoys. So they all play instruments, and, you know, they should maybe start a band soon, possibly. That would be the next thing, but it's lovely to hear that. And I'm not going to talk, I was going to talk about something else, but I'm not going to now. I think this is something that people keep talking about. It's to do with Prince Andrew, and obviously the whole situation that's occurred to him over the 5 years. But the family, as in the Princess Beatrice, Eugenie, and Fergie, Sarah Ferguson, they're a very tight-knit family. And at the moment, the princesses have jumped in to help their father, Prince Andrew, who they can see is really not doing too well. So each weekend they're travelling to see Prince Andrew, and it's given him a new lease of life. And now he's got his grandchildren to look after, and he's got a new focus, and he's actually teaching, I think, the 3-year-old how to horse ride, and that's the same age that the Queen, the late Queen Elizabeth, learned to ride as well. And I think as well, we've seen lots of clips on Instagram, on all the social media, of Princess Eugenie with her children, and with Sarah Ferguson. They're sort of, it's the wintry Christmas fairgrounds and food stalls that they're sort of enjoying a magical time together. So it's lovely to see them as a family having fun. And the new thing that, in fact, I saw her earlier on a TV programme. This is the Duchess of York, that's Sarah Ferguson. She's become a patron of Prevent Breast Cancer. And they are building an academy to train specialists in Wythenshawe in Manchester. It's a hospital, to train 50 new staff each year to increase breast cancer screening. So that the capacity for extra how many appointments each year, which is quite incredible. So 1 in 20 women get breast cancer, 80% being over 50 years old. So a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer every 10 minutes. And they think probably in 2040 it will be every 8 minutes. So it's obviously the most common cancer. And anyway, Sally Dynevor, she's a soap star from Coronation Street here in the UK, and she's also a patron and introduced Sarah Ferguson. So I thought I'd add that to it. I do like Sarah Ferguson. I think she is so funny. I think she should have her own show. And finally, with these state banquets, obviously the pomp and pageantry is great. It's really the British family. It's sort of unmatched, and sort of an example of, you know, huge, wonderful bouquets of flowers and forestry, etc. Nature is displayed on the tables, but All of these flowers don't go to waste after these events. They are sent to, they're donated, sorry, to, it's called Flora Angels, which is a charity based in Covent Garden. Queen Camilla is patron of this charity. And from there, the flowers are delivered to hospices and elderly care homes, shelters, and deserving beneficiaries within the local community, which is, I think, fabulous. It's always good to know that things can be recycled. And I'm going to stop there. Thank you very much.
Fabulous. So many things to talk about.
Absolutely.
Simon,
Wow.
you go first.
Yes, well, I mean, the menu for the state banquet is, I mean, you know,
I thought of you.
foodie. I rather like it. I mean, I must admit, I mean, the quail's eggs, which they had in the starter, I love quail's eggs. I used to smoke quail's eggs before. Very difficult to like,
Wow.
but I mean, smoked quail's eggs, they're just so addictive. I mean, it's like eating sweeties when you get into those. Amazing things.
Ah.
Pheasant as well. I mean, I just love pheasant. It's you know, it's got a lovely, rich depth of flavor to it as well, as long as it's cooked properly. Otherwise, it can be a bit dry and tough. But if you treat it with passion and care, it is one of the nicest birds on the planet as far as eating goes. Absolutely wonderful. So there we go. Yeah.
I wonder what they had as a vegetarian or vegan. They must have had different meals. I would have thought.
But I mean, pheasants are vegetarian themselves, so they don't eat meat.
That's hysterical.
I wonder. So,
You did very well with your Arabic. I want to share with you.
with what? Oh, my Arabic. Oh my goodness.
Yes, I was impressed. Yeah.
Very impressive. I have,
Wow.
in Dubai they say salam alaikum, which means peace be with you, and I think that's a lot easier than what you did. And I was like, whoa.
I don't know. It's always good to try, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I mean, we are a global channel after all. I mean, we've got to speak in all sorts of different languages.
That's right. That's right. And I'm such a believer in recycling the flowers. So thank you for sharing that, because even at church, at the end of all our masses, the flowers go to different hospitals. So that was exciting to learn what you shared. So thank you.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
I,
Go ahead.
no. I'm not going to. So you get yourself.
No, and I'm glad things are settling for Prince Andrew. We all have ups and downs, but when you get that moment in your life where there's a little bit of peace and tranquility, it's kind of nice, right?
I think with younger children as well. I mean, grandchildren, it's always going to perk you up.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll boss them about. We won't stand for any nonsense there, I'm quite sure.
Goodness gracious. Well, Simon, are you ready to share with us everything that you have for today?
Absolutely. I've just heard a snowplow going past there a moment ago.
Oh my.
Oh no, here we go again. Anyway, it's been busy week here. I've picked up another award. This one is the Corporate Livewire Global Awards for Fisheries Management Professional of the Year. So I am so chuffed with that. It weighs a flipping ton. I was advised, because it's 24 karat gold plate, then I've got to wear a white glove when I pick it up, so it doesn't show me fingerprints and so on like that. It only shows up the fingerprints of the guy who comes along to try and steal it. Anyway, so right, well, let's start off today with some of our strange but true factoids, because there's some interesting ones today. So here we go. The blue whale's heart is the size of a Volkswagen Beetle and weighs up to 1,000 pounds. Yeah, what a heart. They're big-hearted in every sense of the word. Moving on, the Japanese term for a shotgun wedding is dekikata kekon. Pardon the pronunciation, which literally translates to, whoops, we did it, marriage. So I thought that's appropriate. A collective group of lemurs is called a conspiracy. I can understand why. And then humans have been performing dentistry since 7000 BC, which makes dentists one of the oldest professions. And to add to that, the ancient Roman surgeons were trained to block out the screams of human pain. Oh, well, get practicing on I suppose that's why they call it a dental practice. We've eventually got it right. I mean, I don't think you get so many screams of human pain now. There we are. And finally, the British pound is the world's oldest currency still in use at 1200 years old. The pound has been an identity as a symbol of British sovereignty. So now you know. So that's my facts for this week. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, this is a subject that's actually very close to my heart. And, she's just one of the finest ships ever to sail the seven seas, or at least sail our coastal waters. And this is about the paddle steamer Waverley. The Waverley, she's just a real Scottish icon, I'd say, definitely. So paddle steamer Waverley, she's the last seagoing passenger-carrying paddle steamer in the Northern Hemisphere. She was built in 1946, launched in 47, and sailed from Craigendoran on the Firth of Clyde to Arrochar and Loch Long, again still in the Firth of Clyde, until 1973. Then she was purchased by the Paddle Steamer Preservation Society, or PSPS, and she's been restored to her 1947 appearance and now operates passenger excursions right around the British coast. So since 2003, the Waverley has been listed in the National Historic Fleet as a vessel of preeminent national importance, and I go along with that wholeheartedly. So the paddle steamer Waverley, it's named after Sir Walter Scott's first novel, of course famous for the Waverley novels, and she was built for the London North Eastern Railway to replace the original paddle steamer Waverley that was sunk in 1940 when helping to evacuate troops from the beaches at Dunkirk. The new vessel was ordered from shipbuilders A&J Ingalls of Glasgow, and I mentioned A&J Ingalls just about a couple of weeks ago, I believe. So, and they laid the keel at their Point House shipyard on the 27th of December 1945. Lady Matthews, the wife of the chairman of LNER, launched the new 693-ton steamer on the 2nd of October 1946. And fitting out proceeded, and around the end of the year, the ship was towed to Victoria Harbour in Greenock, where Rankin and Blackmore installed the engine and coal-fired boiler that they'd manufactured. After sea trials in June 1947, the Waverley entered service on the 16th of June, working the Firth of Clyde steamer route from Craigendoran Pier to near Helensburgh, up Loch Long to Lochgoyle Head, and then to Arrochar. So in her first year in service, she wore the red, white, black funnels in the colours of LNER. The 1948 nationalisation of Britain's railways brought the Scottish steamers into the Caledonian Steam Packet Company. The funnels were then repainted yellow with a black top. It was actually more a primrosy yellow. It wasn't a garish yellow by any manner of means. So in 1965, a red Scottish lion rampart was fixed to each side of both funnels, and the Waverley's hull was painted a monstral blue until 1970, which didn't really suit her very well, much nicer with the black and white hull. After a revival of fortunes in the 1950s, the 1960s saw a change in holiday habits, leading to a decline in passenger numbers and the closure of many of the small piers on the Firth of Clyde. So from 1969, the Caledonian Steam Packet was gradually merging with West Highland Shipping Company of David McBrain Limited. And in 1973, the company became Caledonian McBrains Limited, known affectionately locally as Calmac. So Calmac withdrew the Waverley after 1973 season, as she was getting a bit too costly to operate and needed some significant expenditure. And by then, the Paddle Steamer Preservation Society had been set up as a registered UK charity and bought the near-derelict small river dart paddler called the PS Kingswear Castle. Calmac were keen to ensure that the ship was preserved, and so sold the Waverley to the Paddle Steamer Preservation Society for the token sum of £1. And you can spend £1 on a boat, buying a boat, and so on. Several million pounds later, you might have it right. So on the other side really believed that the vessel could return to steam, but just in case, Caledonian McBrain stipulated that it should not sail in competition with their remaining cruise vessel, the TS Queen Mary, which was a very small sister ship to the liner, the Queen Mary. And oddly enough, the cruise vessel TS Queen Mary, which is reasonably small in comparison, was actually called Queen Mary II, although she came into service after the liner Queen Mary, but majesty and size took over. A successful public appeal was launched to secure funding for the return of the Waverley to service, and PSPS found itself running a cruise ship operation under the name of Waverley Excursions. Since then, the Waverley has been joined in the PSPS fleet by the Kingswear Castle and the MV Balmoral, which is currently undergoing restoration work. It's had a series of extensive and expensive refits and much restoration work, including a new boiler or two, and improvements to meet modern safety standards as well. So every year now, she makes extensive sailings right around the country. So listed as part of the National Historic Fleet between 2000 and 2003, the ship underwent substantial rebuild and reboilering at George Pryor of Great Yarmouth, funded principally by the Heritage Lottery Fund. The work done in 2 stages added many 21st century safety and technological improvements and returned the ship to her original 1947 livery. So in 2011, the ship was awarded the Institutional Mechanical Engineers Engineering Heritage Award, and her engine room is just a work of art. 2019, Waverley was withdrawn from service due to boiler problems, and an appeal was subsequently launched with a target of £2.3 million to recommission the Waverley. It was announced on the 11th of July in 2019 that new boilers had been ordered from Cochrane's Limited. So following the boiler replacement, the Waverley returned to sea on the 13th of August in 2020 for sea trials and resumed service for a short COVID-19 affected season starting on the 22nd of August. This was cut short after she struck the pier at Brodick on the 3rd of September, damaging her bow. I'll talk about that one in a wee bit. The following year, the Waverley started operating from the 29th of June, but with limited passenger capacity due to the pandemic. The sailing season was described as a success, with a total of 52,000 passenger journeys, but shorter than normal as it only lasted until the 19th of September. A highlight for passengers and crew, of course, were the dolphins, which are now becoming more frequent in the area, and they could be spotted frequently as they accompanied the Waverley as she sails up and down the Clyde. Waverley is powered by a 3-crank diagonal triple expansion marine steam engine built by Rankin and Blackmore engineers at Eagle Foundry in Greenock, not far from where she was launched. It's rated at 2,100 IHP and achieved trial speeds of 18.37 knots, which is 21.14 mph, which is a very respectable speed, and that was at 57.8 RPM. Passengers can watch this immaculate engine from the passageways on either side of the engine room, and it is absolute stunning and mesmerizing piece of machinery. The main crank is solidly attached to both paddle wheels, so they can't turn independently. So the Waverley, therefore, has a much larger turning circle than modern ferries. Now, this, of course, contributed, I reckon, quite severely to the damage that she received on the bows when she T-boned the pier at Brodick on the Isle of Arran. And, my experience with the Waverley, knowing the paddles will either they go forward or they go back, but you can't put one forward and one backwards. And they've got a very ineffective rudder at the back. So you've got to think about a week in advance before you turn a corner with this boat. But anyway, I think the time they hit Brodick Pier, they must have been 2 days behind. Waverley has had several colour schemes in her life. At launch, the paddle boxes were painted black, and then in 1959 they were changed to white, then returned to black but with white edges in 1972, then to all black again in 1977. The 2 gold stripes along the hull were removed in 1954, but restored during the 2000 rebuild. Today, the Waverley has the LNER 1947 livery of red, white and black funnels, and the traditional brown grain superstructure, and black paddle wheel boxes decorated with gold lettering on each side. So for most of her life, the upper passenger cabins were painted white and had wooden doors. But all have had layout improvements at some time in the ship's life. Sailing in all weathers and salt water, of course, can cause pale brown rust streaks to appear at the end of each season. So cosmetic painting and improvements are done annually as the ship is dry docked and inspected by the Department of Transport. And since 1962, when paddle steamer Waverley's original funnels were renewed, the replacement items have been just slightly out of parallel alignment due to their heavier welded steel construction. So the problem was resolved in the 2000 to 2003 refit, and our 2 funnels are now bang on line and parallel. Lifeboat arrangements have varied depending on the legislation at the time, and between 1975 and 1980 there was only 1 traditional lifeboat on the rear deck. Waverley makes passenger excursions from various British ports, including ports in Northern Ireland, and she regularly sails from Glasgow and other ports in the Firth of Clyde, and then down to the Thames and the south coast of England and the Bristol Channel, so she really gets about. And she also undertakes private charters and has provided a period setting for television documentaries and movies, such as the Sherlock Holmes Game of Shadows. That was in 2011. Primarily during the summer, she's based on the Clyde, operating their excursions from Glasgow down to Greenock and Largs or Ayr and around all the sea locks that go into the Clyde. Her Clyde timetable ends at the end of August, and the Waverley then spends 6 weeks between September and October, cruising the Bristol Channel, the Solent and the Thames, including going right into the heart of London under the Tower Bridge as well, a magnificent sight, before she returns to the Clyde for 2 sailings in October. On the 3rd of September 2020, Waverley, as I said earlier, had collided with Broddock Pier in the Isle of Arran, causing quite significant damage to the bow. 24 people were actually injured, and the ship was carrying 213 passengers and 26 crew at the time, who were left temporarily stranded on the Isle of Arran. So the Calmac ferry, the MV Caledonian Isles, made an unscheduled sailing to return them back to the Scottish mainland later that evening. Great experience for them, no doubt. So during the 2021 season, the Waverley was unable to operate south of the Clyde owing to crew availability. In 2022 marked the 75th anniversary of her maiden voyage, and boy, was that a party. In 2023, during the ship's sailing to the south coast, the Waverley and the steamship, the SS Shield Hall, sailed side by side as the 2 vessels passed the Needles. The occasion of the 2 vessels, both with very similar histories, sailing together was met with great praise from the guests on both vessels and garnered plenty of national attention for both vessels as well. Today, the paddle steamer Waverley is back at her winter berth in Glasgow, and she's undergoing her annual overhaul and refit in readiness for the 2025 season. She's a proud old lady of the Clyde and holding many fond memories for her regular passengers and for myself as well. I hold my master's certificate, and my very first command as a ship's captain was 3 months stint as commander of paddle steamer Waverley. So she means a lot to me. She is magnificent. But having said that, because of this issue of the paddles only going one way, forward or backwards, but not being able to alternate, and this very small rudder a long way from the driving power, she really made you think when bringing her into a pier. And fortunately, it wasn't me that ran Broddock Pier, I can assure you. So now you know about the wonderful paddle steamer, the Waverley.
Wow, that was so fascinating. Helena, have you seen these ships?
I haven't. I find it. I'm not sort of into. I love it. I love hearing about it, but I'm not very. I don't know too much about these ships, so it's interesting to hear Simon talking about it so passionately. It's lovely.
I mean, I remember as a child. I mean, you know, and totally unaware that one day that I was standing up there in the bridge with my braided hat and all the rest of it, and the sleeves, and in command of it. And she was just such a wonderful ship. Very elegant looking. I mean, you know, modern ships tend to be a bit sort of slab-sided and clunky looking, but the Waverley, she has a grace, an air, and a style all of her own. Very, very unique. Lovely, lovely ship.
Wow, it's so fascinating. But it's I mean, I don't go and see ships because I'm surrounded by land, but it is so beautiful, to well, actually, when I was in Dubai, we got to see the ships coming into port, and it's just, they're like little dots out to sea, and as they come in, they're just massively huge, right?
Well, that's it. I mean, the QE2's in Dubai now as a hotel restaurant now, and that's her home. And of course,
I've been on it a couple of times. So
in Long Beach, you've got the Queen Mary as well. Still, a great icon of the seas. I mean, the little Queen Mary that we've got here, and actually, the little Queen Mary is now undergoing full restoration on the Clyde, and she may be back in service next year again under different ownership from Caledonia McBrain. So it's lovely to see the two of them there. I mean, it's just, it's like the vintage cars of the sea, basically.
That's a good way to put it. I do love vintage cars.
Yes.
I wish I could be like Jay Leno, and have like 24 cars, but I think he has more like 147 or something, He has a parking lot.
Yeah.
But there's something beautiful about people who can design and engineer through the years, whether it's cars or ships or sailboats even. It's just amazing.
Well, it's just, I mean, up on the bridge in the Waverley when I had her, I mean, it was just so beautiful in there, and all the brasswork was all absolutely gleaming. She didn't have a lot of the modern technology that you see on modern ships today, but she was functional. She did her job well, and people just absolutely adore her. And they'll travel all over the world to come to Scotland just to go on the Waverley, and it's the highlight of everyone's holiday.
Wow.
It's a great thing. So,
but I also think what's so great about y'all is that the United Kingdom, I mean, you're known for owning the seas. That's how all of us can speak English. It's the international language. I mean, it's right. I mean, that's how I
say.
But English wasn't the original language of Britain. So there we are. Yeah, I'll go into that one next week in Factoids. Do you want a quick on this day? Because I know.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, rush through this lot. 1619, 38 colonists from Berkeley Parish in England disembark in Virginia and give thanks to God, and that's considered to be the first Thanksgivings in the Americas. 1816. On this day, James Moore is elected the 5th President of the United States, defeating Rufus King of the Federalist Party. Then in 1844, James Knox Polk was elected the 11th US President. And then in 1905, British Prime Minister Arthur Balfour resigned after 3 years in office only. Birthdays on this day, well, 1840, Crazy Horse, the Oglala Sioux chief, famous from the Battle of the Little Bighorn, was born in Fort Robinson, Nebraska. 1949, Jeff Bridges, the American actor, born in Los Angeles, California. He's 75 today. Happy birthday, Jeff. And 1973, Tyra Banks, the American supermodel and actress. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was her fame there. She was born in Inglewood in California, and she's 51 today. Happy birthday, Tyra. I hope you're watching. For deaths today, 1828, we've got Robert Jenkinson, the second Earl of Liverpool and Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. He died of a stroke aged 58. He ended up his final days of Prime Minister was just the year before, so I think the stress of the job got him. In 1976, Benjamin Britten, the English composer, died of heart failure, aged 63. And then finally, in 1993, Frank Zappa, the American rock guitarist and composer, mother of invention, activist and filmmaker, died from prostate cancer, aged 52. So there we go. That's on this day. Quickly.
Great job. Thank you so much. So many,
Thank you.
yeah, so many fabulous things. Well, guys, thank you for another great show. Helena and Simon, this show could not exist without you and all your knowledge and beauty that you and love that you put into this show. So thank you so much. And for all those listening, thank you for joining us today for the United Kingdom News and Culture. Wherever you are in the world, I hope your day is filled with peace and love. Bye for now. Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, DIANN BOEHM. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Dianne Floyd BOEHM tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diane's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diane's Little Girl in the Moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter, its powerful theme that we're each of us different yet all of us the same plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diane's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diane's delightful books and much more at DIANNFloydBOEHM.com. Visit DIANNFLOYDBOEHM.com. That's DIANNFloydBOEHM.com.